Okay, so when we're working with analytical geometry, we are looking at points on a axis or a set of axes en ons kyk na lyne. In graad 12 gaan julle sirkels ook bydoen. Maar vir nou doen ons net reguit lyne. It's not a panic yet. Obviously, when you draw 3 straight lines, you can work, for instance, with a triangle. So ons sal kyk na 'n paar forme ook, maar meestal kyk ons net na reguit lyne. So it's important that you guys are confident with what we know about a straight line, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, these are formulas that you guys did in grade 10. So let's just quickly revise them. When you have to calculate the length of a line segment AB, oopsie. When you have to calculate the length of a line segment AB, you will be using that formula. Onthou dit maak nie saak wat se een van die twee punte jy eerste instel nie, solank jy daai punt se x-waarde en sy y-waarde eerste instel in hulle hakies. Okay, so you can swap these around, but then you have to swap those around as well. You guys understand what I'm saying? Okay. Dan as ons die middelpunt doen, het ons twee verskillende formules, een vir die x-waarde en een vir die y-waarde. Basically what you're doing is you are working out the average x value and the average y value. Want as iets halfpad tussen twee x-waardes lê, is dit mos die gemiddeld van daai twee x-waardes. Okay, so you're saying, I know the x value of the one point and I know the x value of the other point. What will be halfway between them? You add them together and you divide them by 2. It's easy if you understand the formulas because then you don't have to study them. Okay. Goed, dan die gradient van die lyn gaan ons baie gebruik. Gradient of the line is the difference in the y values over the difference in the x values. Weereens, dis vir my belangrik dat julle sien, daai x-waarde en daai y-waarde kom van dieselfde punt af. You can swap them around, but then you have to swap the x values and the y values around. Okay? So if you decided I'm going to substitute point A in first, then it has to be y value of A first and x value of A first. Okay. Good. Flying. Then this, we're going to just keep on ice for now. Ooh, kinders. Go away. Okay, so this I'm going to come back to later. Because that's new. We haven't done the angle of inclination yet. Hierdie drie goeters bo dit, julle het mos laas jaar die afstandformule gedoen. Julle het mos die middelpunt gedoen en julle weet al om die gradient van 'n lyn uit te werk. So those three shouldn't be completely strange to you. Almal by. Okay, now for the next few things, we are looking only at the gradient of the line. So the gradient of the line is something that we get a lot of information from. Die eerste ding wat julle moet weet van die gradient is wanneer hulle vir jou sê 3 punte is collinear of saamlynig. So if they say 3 points are collinear, then it means that you can draw them on the same line. Ek het as prins nie punt B halfpad tussen punt A en C gesit nie, because sometimes we read into a question something that they didn't say. Just because they are on the same line, it doesn't mean that they are the same distance from one another. Verstaan julle wat ek sê? No? So if we look at the 4 of you sitting in this row, you are collinear. And these 3 of you, you're sitting the same distance from one another, but then there's a desk open. Okay, so even though you guys are collinear, it doesn't mean if I'm looking for the midpoint, I can just divide by 2. Verstaan julle wat ek sê? Okay, good. So, when 3 points are collinear, it is important that you guys understand that this line has a constant gradient. It doesn't matter at which segment of the line I'm looking. So in other words, if I'm going to look at the part between A and B, do you see that part, no man, that part will have a certain gradient. Okay? En as ek dan aangaan en ek gaan kyk na die stuk van die lyn tussen B en C, then those two gradients will be equal to one another. Do you agree? Because they're on the same straight line. 'n reguit lyn het oral presies dieselfde gradient. So, let's say for instance they tell you that the points A, B, and C are collinear and they give you coordinates for A and B. And they give you half of the coordinates for C. Then you can work out the gradient between those 2 points and use that to calculate the variable depth. But we will do those. But it's important that you guys understand that when I'm working with collinear points, the gradients will be the same no matter which part of the line segment you are looking at. Okay, goed. Die volgende ding waarna ons gaan kyk met gradiënte is wanneer ons praat oor parallelle lyne. So when two lines are parallel to one another, it means that the gradient of the one is equal to the gradient of the other one. Okay. But if two lines, if two lines are perpendicular to one another, it means that the product of their gradients will be -1. Onthou julle dit van laas jaar af? Sort of? Good. Okay. Then these next 3 points are important for you to just know what I'm saying when I'm saying a median or an altitude line. Okay, so as ons praat van 'n swarte lyn of 'n mediaan, beteken dit halveer die basis van 'n driehoek. So in other words, if I have this triangle, then it will halve the base of the triangle. Hy hoef nie loodreg op hom te wees nie, maar hy halveer daai lyn. Okay. Wat belangrik is, want ons kan mos die middelpunt van 'n lynsegment kry. So then you can get that point. 'n Hoogtelyn is altyd loodreg op die basis van 'n driehoek. So an altitude is always perpendicular to the base of a triangle. And then when you combine those two, we call it a perpendicular bisector. So as jy daai twee kombineer, dan word dit 'n middelloodlyn. So hy halveer hom en hy is loodreg op hom. Okay. Then for the next part of the work, I want you to take a pencil, not a black Cokie. And just draw a line through this. Why pencil? Because next year you are doing that. It hasn't been omitted from the syllabus. So as jy een van die mense is wat actually die bome in die reënwoud value, dan gaan jy mos nou hierdie notas van jou hou vir volgende jaar en dan kan jy net daai enetjie uitgee. Okay, we're good. All of you happy with that? Julle gelukkig daarmee? Okay, so let's start doing these.